Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cat Scrappiness channel. This is Anna Cole of Canterbury Card Designs here to share another project using products from the new Cat Scrappiness release. Today's card is going to feature the Wrapped Up with a Bow die set. We're going to be using this large bow to create an A2 size card, and we're also going to be using this Believe sentiment that I have down below and the three little pieces. I will also be sharing how to do the same technique to create a birthday shaker tag in another video. For my card, I have chosen a metallic green, a medium colored green, and white cardstock. They were all scraps that I had laying around, and I cut them into varying widths. I have an A2 size piece of hammer mill cardstock, and I'm going to lay these strips down in a diagonal pattern. I'm not sure why I really chose that. I just thought it would look good once it was all cut. You can do it any way that you want to. So I laid them down. I made sure that I cut enough to fill the cardstock, at least so that the bow would die cut out of the whole piece. So I'm just laying these down in random patterns, varying widths. I'm using some liquid adhesive. You can use tape run or any kind of adhesive that you would like. So I'm just laying these down in a random pattern. Once I pretty much got the whole entire panel filled, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to cut all these extras off. You can save these for another project if you want to, but these were all scraps that I had lying around, so I just kind of tossed these at the end. So I'm going to cut all of these off. You don't have to do this, but it does make it a bit easier to run it through your die cut machine. So we'll get these all off. We'll get rid of these, and then we'll get ready to die cut this piece. So I placed the bow across it, and I held it down with a little piece of Post-it tape, and I'm going to run it through my die cut machine. Today I'm using my Anna Griffith Impress machine, and since the glue is still a little tiny bit damp, I actually ran it through twice. To do this, I ran it through forward, and then I just hit reverse, just to kind of give it a little bit of extra pressure to cut. So once I have this placed where I want it, I'm going to run this through my machine. And now that it's all cut, we'll very carefully peel this Post-it tape off. It's not really supposed to stick, but sometimes it gets a little bit tacky, and I didn't want to peel any of that metallic, that metallic green off the back of the cardstock. So I'm going to carefully take this off, and then I'm going to pop the die cut out. Okay. And you'll see some little cat ears sticking in there too. Always curious about what I'm doing. So we're going to pop this out. And now what I need to do is I need to die cut those three other tiny pieces that go on to complete the bow. So I'm going to do that once I get this popped out. And you'll see it's a little tricky to get popped out. And I did it carefully, slowly, because like I said, the glue is still a tiny bit tacky. It might have been a little easier if I had used a tape runner. So now I'm going to take one of these pieces, and I'm going to run those other three pieces to make the center of the bow and the knot. I'm going to run those through my die cut machine as well, and then we'll start putting this bow together. Okay, now we're going to pop these three little pieces out, and then we're going to get them adhered to the bow. I was careful to put these back on the magnetic backer quickly, because those are some tiny little dies, and I didn't want to lose them. So I put them back before I put the bow together. So now we're going to take these three little pieces, adhere them on, and there's our bow. Look at how adorable that is. So now I'm going to cut a piece of, this is just some red scrap cardstock that I had, and I'm going to cut an A2 panel out of this. And this is going to make the base of our present. So we'll get that cut down to an A2 panel. And we're going to adhere that to another piece of hammer mill cardstock. And I did that just because the red cardstock was a little bit of a lighter weight. It was like a 65-pound weight from Michael's. So I just wanted it to have like a little bit of extra stability there. Okay. So now I decided I wanted to put some white splatters. So I took some white gouache paint and made some splatters onto the present. And then we'll get that bow glued on there. So you can do as much of this or as little of this as you like. You can completely skip this step if you want to. Now I'm going to glue the bow onto the present. So we'll get that all glued on there. And we'll lay this down, center it, and then I'm going to hold it in place for a second. And then I do end up putting an acrylic block on top of it just to kind of hold it down and really let that glue adhere. So finding my acrylic block here, and then I'll put that on top and set it aside and work on my card base. So once this is nice and adhered, then I decide how big, because I knew I wanted a white border on this. So this is a little bit of a non-traditional card size because the quote-unquote present here that we've put together is an A2 card size. So now I don't measure, I just kind of eyeball. So now I'm going to make little tick marks where I want to cut and score my paper. So I kind of line this up here where I want it. And then I'm going to cut, make a little tick mark here. And then you see I have some little extra, I think I need to change the blade in my trimmer here. So I just take my sand eraser and run that along the edge, and that gets rid of all of those little pieces. Or you can just change your blade like I need to do. So now I'm going to cut this card base. So I'm going to cut this first, and then we'll go to scoring. So I'll place this back on there, make sure that it's how I like it, enough of a white border. Now I'm going to make another little tick mark, and then I'm going to take my Cat Scrappiness scoring tool, and we'll score this. So again, I'm really just eyeballing it. You can measure it out if you like to. So I'm going to take my scoring tool, and I'm actually using my paper trimmer to score it as well. Now we'll flip that, fold it, crease it nice, and then I will cut the excess off. And there we have our card base. Like I said, a little bit of an unconventional size. Here you see me take my sand eraser and get those little frayed pieces off again. Now we're going to score this. Again, make sure it's nice and flat. So I'm using my Cat Scrappiness bone folder to score that. And now we can put our card together. So there's our present on a white backing, white card base. Using that sand eraser is really a great trick if you have any little frayed edges. So now here I decided to use a tape runner to adhere this onto my card base. Get it centered on there. Excuse me, still getting over a cold. Okay. And how pretty does that look? Looks like a beautiful Christmas present. And I'm going to show you again in another video how to do this. You can make any kind of present. Like my plan is to make a birthday present and then a matching shaker tag. So now I have a little bit of this left. So I'm going to take this Believe sentiment from Cat Scrappiness, and I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to make that the inside sentiment of the card. So this has the shadow die with it as well. So I cut the backing, and then I cut out of white cardstock the actual word. And here we'll take it all off, and then we'll get this adhered down. So I just got to pop those little pieces out. Sometimes just hitting it on your table works, but there's a lot of little, there you go, this is a little bit thinner. So now I'm going to adhere that onto the shadow for the sentiment. So we'll poke all these little pieces out, and we'll save that for the eye. We'll save that little dot. So once I kind of get this on here, then we'll use some liquid adhesive and get that laid down. And that almost finishes our card for today. Super simple. And I really like the way the diagonal, laying the pieces diagonally on the card, not the card base, but the A2 panel. I like the way that cut and made the ribbon look. All right, so we'll get this adhered down. And then we will pop this on the inside of our card. We'll glue the little tittle onto the eye. And there you can see a shadow of a cat. And we'll adhere it to the middle of the card. How adorable. I really, really like the way this card turned out. Love that I was able to have enough left to do the sentiment for the inside. And that is our card for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Turn on the notifications. Leave any comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in another video real soon. Bye.